Hi everyone, I hope that your unit plan and lesson plans are going really well. I think that most people are reaching the point where they're starting to write the rationales now. So this walkthrough is designed to help you understand what you need to write in that. On the task sheet for this assignment, it asks you to write a rationale for the teaching of this unit and lessons that's between 1,000 and 1,500 words long. A rationale is just a justification for why you've planned the unit the way you have. You also need to be considering how your unit caters for the needs of the students at Hartfield. Remember that this work program comes from a sample school with a particular cohort in mind. So under assessment, you'll remember that there's a description of the school context here that describes who the students are, where they come from, how the work program is designed and so on. So you need to be considering how your unit caters for these students. How does it cater specifically for their backgrounds and for their needs? This is an example of how you could structure your rationale. You don't have to use this structure, it's just one idea. You can write an introduction, a summary of the unit and the lessons, and then you're going to make links to your teaching and learning approaches. So what you've had in mind when you've been designing the lessons and the unit. Firstly, linking to theory, secondly to the Australian curriculum, and thirdly to the professional standards for teachers, and then your conclusion. I'll talk through each section. Your introduction, that's quite straightforward. You're just going to identify the purpose of your essay and what you're going to discuss within the essay, which comes from points 2 to 5 back here. Okay, these ones here. Second is the summary of the units and lessons. You'll remember that above this section in your unit plan, you will have copied and pasted from the work program a description of the unit. However, in this part of your rationale, I want you to expand on that and tell me which direction you've taken this unit in. The descriptions in the work program are generally very vague, and you could have taken this unit in many different directions, so tell me how you've developed it. Tell me what this unit explores. Tell me what content and skills it's designed to teach students. What will students learn from your unit? What will they learn in terms of content, and what will they learn to do? And lastly, tell me how your 3 lesson plans give a really clear example of how you've gone about constructing your unit. Then you're going to make some links to the theory that informs your unit. I've listed here the theories that we've used in this unit so far. So multiple intelligences and Bloom's taxonomy. Remember that there's a lecture on Blackboard. Under learning resources, useful documents and links. Down here there's multiple intelligences and Bloom's taxonomy. There's lots of resources here and then a lecture for you. So if you missed that, it's there for you to catch up on if you'd like to. How does your unit promote literacy? You can reference the Literate Futures document that we looked at in week 1. Does your unit use teacher or student-centered learning, or a bit of both? Does it promote inquiry learning? You can find some references on the QUT library to support those things. Remember that there's a book by Roy Killen, Killen, that you can use. That's available in the library. In this section here, I hope that when you've been developing your unit, you've had these theories in your mind. Okay, so that you have actually considered how to develop lessons that cater for different intelligences. Does your unit progress from the lower levels of complexity in the taxonomy up to the more complex levels towards the end of the unit? Have you designed activities that promote literacy, and so on? So I hope that you have been considering these all along, but this is your opportunity to justify and explain why you've used those theories. Also here, if you can, speak about how you've used these theories to support the students at Hartfield. So keep that context in mind. Next, you're going to make links to the Australian curriculum. open it up here. So you can talk about how it teaches in line with the year level description, the achievement standard, the content descriptors, and the general capabilities and cross-curricular priorities. So if we go down to year 7, this is the year level description. So how does your unit help students to learn these kinds of things? Does your unit ask students to engage with digital texts or poetry or dramatic performances? Does it ask students to create any of these kinds of things? If it does, then take a quote from here and say this unit encourages students to engage with a range of text types, for example. You can go through some of the content descriptors that it aligns with. I would imagine that you'd have around about 15 content descriptors in your unit. You don't have to justify how your unit teaches every single one of them, but just give a couple of examples. And then after all the content descriptors is the achievement standard. So you can give a description of how your unit helps students to display their learning, whether it's through a receptive mode or a productive mode. And then the last two here, does it encourage ICTs? Does it use Indigenous or Asian perspectives or sustainability? So how does your unit align with the Australian curriculum? And lastly is the professional standards. Now we haven't talked about these in class, and I don't know if you have done so in other subjects. I've left links for them under useful documents. Now there are 2 versions. This is the national version. The second one is by the Queensland College of Teachers. It's exactly the same as the national version, they've just put their stamp on it. So this is what the national version looks like. And this is the QCT version. Like I say, they're exactly the same. It's quite easy to read. These are the 7 standards. So you just need to pick a couple of points and explain how your unit demonstrates that you can align with the standards. Each standard is broken down a little bit more and at different levels. You can just work to the graduate level. Okay, so how does your unit where's a good example? How does your unit demonstrate your ability to organise content into an effective learning and teaching sequence? So you can justify your unit using the standards. Okay, so just pick a couple and choose some things that you haven't been able to speak about in the last couple of paragraphs. Okay, so try and choose things that are different to what's come up when you've been speaking about the theory and the curriculum. Then you'll write your conclusion, so summing up your main points. I'm just going to remind you again, because it is quite important, make sure that you're thinking about how your unit aligns with, caters for students at Hartfield. Okay, keep them in mind. This should be a really context-specific document. I shouldn't pick up your document and think, oh, I could teach this at any school. I want to pick it up and think, right, this makes sense for the kids at Hartfield. Where in the assignment will I put the rationale? It goes in the head end of your unit plan. Just put your references at the end of the unit plan. It's 1,000 to 1,500 words excluding references. So that's all there is for that. I hope that it's all going really well. If you have any questions about the rationale or about the unit and lesson plans, just send me an email. I'm happy to help. Good luck.